There are nights you never forget, nights that burn into your memory, carving scars that never fully heal. For me, it wasn't the shouting, the broken glass, or even the silence that followed. It was the sound I heard from upstairs, the muffled whispers, the rhythm of footsteps I knew weren't mine. As I climbed those steps, my heart pounded with dread, each creak of the woods sounding like betrayal itself. What I found waiting behind that door shattered everything I believed about love, loyalty, and trust. I never imagined the two people I respected most, my wife and my boss, would destroy me in the same night. I was a man who believed in hard work, loyalty, and family. My job wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. I had spent years under the guidance of my boss, an older man who became more than just a superior. He was a mentor, a father figure, someone I admired deeply. He gave me my start when no one else believed in me. Because of him, I was able to build a career, save enough to buy a modest home, and start the life I had always dreamed of. And then there was her, my wife. She was younger than me, full of life and energy, the kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into a room. I never thought someone like her would want to spend her life with someone like me. She made me feel alive again, like I was living in a dream I didn't deserve. For a long time, our marriage was filled with laughter, long walks, and late-night talks about the future. But over time, I noticed changes. Subtle at first. She started spending more time on her phone, more nights out with friends I never met. The warmth in her voice when she spoke to me began to fade, replaced by a distant coolness I couldn't quite explain. I told myself it was stress, that every marriage had its ups and downs. What I didn't want to admit was that she had grown restless. And perhaps, deep down, I knew she was searching for something or someone I couldn't give. My boss, on the other hand, was always around. He had a way of commanding attention even in his old age. People respected him, admired him. He carried himself with a confidence that only came with experience and success. I thought it was natural that my wife would look up to him. After all, I did too. He was welcome in our home, often sharing dinners with us, laughing, telling stories of his youth. But looking back now, the signs were there. The way his hand lingered a moment too long on her shoulder. The way her laughter changed when he was in the room. Lighter, more alive. I brushed it aside, convincing myself I was overthinking, that I was being insecure. After all, he was old enough to be her father. Surely there was nothing to worry about. Yet every so often doubt crept in. A strange perfume would linger in the air after he left our house. Their conversations would hush the moment I entered the room. And my wife. She began dressing differently, speaking differently, as if she were trying to impress someone who wasn't me. I wanted to believe in trust. I wanted to believe in loyalty. But trust, I would soon learn, can be the very thing that blinds you. The tension built slowly, like a storm forming on the horizon. I found myself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet breathing of the woman beside me and wondering if her dreams were of someone else. At work, I felt the distance from my boss, the strange tension in our conversations, the awkward silences that hadn't been there before. One evening, I came home to find his car parked outside my house. It wasn't unusual, he'd visited before, but something about it felt wrong. When I walked in, the living room was empty, the kitchen silent. I called out, but no answer came. Then, faintly, from upstairs, I heard laughter. Her laughter, and another voice, his. My chest tightened. My stomach dropped. I stood frozen at the bottom of the stairs, every instinct telling me not to go up. But curiosity mixed with dread pushed me forward. Slowly, I climbed, each step echoing in the silence of the house. Halfway up, I paused. I could hear them clearer now. Whispers. The sound of movement. The unmistakable rhythm of bodies too close together. My mind raced. I wanted to believe it wasn't true, that I was mishearing, that there was some innocent explanation. But deep down, I already knew. 1,000 memories flashed through my mind in those moments. The dinners we'd shared, the laughter, the advice he'd given me, the vows she had spoken on our wedding day, all of it twisting, unraveling, turning into a cruel joke. By the time I reached the door, my hands were trembling. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would give me away. I reached for the handle, hesitated, then pushed it open. The sight burned into my eyes, searing itself into my soul. There they were. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart, and my boss, the man I had trusted with my career. Together, intimate, their betrayal laid bare in the dim light of our bedroom. Couldn't breathe. The room spun around me, collapsing under the weight of what I was seeing. For a moment, I thought I might be dreaming, trapped in some twisted nightmare I would soon wake from. But this was no dream. This was reality, ugly, raw, and devastating. My wife froze, her face draining of color as her eyes met mine. My boss, my mentor, my father figure, looked at me with a mixture of guilt and defiance. No words were spoken. None were needed. The truth was already carved into the silence between us. I wanted to scream, to rage, to tear the walls down around me. But all I felt was a hollow emptiness, a numbness that spread through my body. It was the kind of pain that doesn't explode but seeps in quietly, filling every corner of your soul until there's nothing left. That night, something inside me broke. The trust one had given so freely, the love I had believed in, the loyalty I had lived by, it all crumbled in an instant. The days that followed were a blur of anger, grief, and silence. I left the house, unable to bear the sight of her, unable to face the man who had betrayed me so completely. Everything I had built, my marriage, my career, my sense of self, felt shattered beyond repair. But in the wreckage, I found clarity. I realized that betrayal doesn't just come from enemies. Often, it comes from the people we trust most, the ones we least expect. And that is what makes it cut so deeply. I walked away from both of them, my wife and my boss, because some wounds can never be healed, and some trust can never be rebuilt. I had to learn to live with the scars, to carry the weight of that night, and to find strength in my survival. Betrayal changes you. It forces you to question everything you thought you knew about love, loyalty, and trust. But it also teaches you something invaluable, that your worth is not defined by those who betray you, but by how you rise after the fall. And so I ask you, as you listen to my story, what would you do if you caught the two people you trusted most, destroying your world upstairs?